74% of top performing sales reps have a structured one-on-one every single week. Most sales managers, CEOs don't give their people enough time. Then when they don't perform, they blame the reps. They don't ever look at themselves. In this video, I'm going to give you the full rundown on how to run a structured one-on-one and how it actually benefits your team. How it's not just a conversation, it's a lot more. It's more about performance. And I'm going to change your entire outlook on what a one-on-one conversation is. My name is Usman Kayani and I'm the founder of Guided Growth. I went from a sales rep to a sales director over the course of 10 years. Then I spent the last 3 to 4 years consulting some of the biggest sales teams in the industry, multiple 7- and 8-figure teams. In this video, we'll go over everything to do with one-on-ones. But first, who is this training for? This training is for sales managers and CEOs who want to increase the performance and they want to understand coaching on a higher level. So you might just see a meeting as just a meeting, a conversation. But what is true coaching? And business owners who struggle to balance accountability and motivation. If you've had your team and you're thinking, how come they're not listening? Every time I tell them to do something, they're not doing it. How come every time I've asked them to do a task, they've fallen short? Do I need to provide them more accountability or do I need to give them more support? But how do you do either? How do you even work out which one to do? And it's for leaders who want a structured system for a one-on-one conversation. And if you structure it, you'll be able to design it in a way where you can always have the same outcome. Now, if you build a repeatable process, you will now have repeatable results. If you're looking at your sales team and the results so far are poor, it's probably because what you're doing is not correct, the format in which you're doing it at. If we change your input, the output will be high performance. Why does this training even matter? Great one-on-ones will transform reps into high performers. Think about this. Think about a football player. He comes into a football club and he's got great potential, but then he just starts going out. He starts going on nights out. He starts partying. He's got all his potential, but then he's just struggling with focus. But what do the great football managers do? They know how to get those personalities that are hard to control and get them under tunnel vision and get them performing. But only a few managers can do that. Why is every Premier League manager not performing, not smashing it? It's because they can't do the same high level of coaching. Now, when you look at sales leaders, it's actually two things. Part coach, part therapist. You're there to teach them about quality on sales calls, on pitching, on discoveries, all the sales side. And the other part that you're there to do is therapy. Now, you didn't sign up to become a therapist, but you are. And you need to understand their emotional state. Think about it in this way. You got a sales rep, and this sales rep has had a breakup. Now, after a breakup, suddenly the performance starts to dip. CEO or sales manager number one will say to the sales rep, why are you not performing? The sales rep doesn't open up. Very quickly, they lose their job within a couple of weeks. CEO or sales manager number two will ask, what's going on? Like, something's changed. Yeah, it's just stuff's been going on. Can you tell me a bit more? Is what's been happening? And because you built that trust, they tell you they had a breakup. Then you listen. And then you'll say, you know what? Just have a day or two off work. Clear your head. And then come back and let's have a proper conversation around how you can structure your day and build things back up. You see, the sales leader on the first one didn't care about anything but numbers. But then when you have sales people, numbers are just one part of it. If you have the mindset which is, if you don't perform, you're out, you're going to be churning through sales reps and you'll look like this great leader who's just sacking everyone every time they don't perform. But what will actually happen is your results suffer. I've worked with sales leaders who are highly dictatorial, who are like, do this or you're out. And I've worked with great sales leaders who are emotionally intelligent. And I can promise you, the sales leaders who are emotionally intelligent know how to get their team to perform. Now, your goals are to balance accountability with personal support, and reps must feel challenged and valued. So remember this, there's a balance. You want to challenge them and then make them feel valued. If you just do one of them, they're not going to perform. If you just challenge them relentlessly and don't make them feel respected, valued, appreciated, eventually they'll burn out. Some reps will last 1 month, some reps will last 7-8 months. And if you make them feel appreciated and valued, you're going to find that you can challenge them and then get them to perform, and then they'll want to work for you as well. Imagine a sales rep who wants to perform at the highest level all the time. and is also emotionally supported when he or she needs it. If you can provide both challenge and value, you're going to find that you build a killer sales team, and we're going to show you how to build that structured process. And the best one-on-ones follow the structured framework without a system, meeting, and becoming unproductive. And that's what you need to be able to do. So this is what we're going to be going into. And the key statistics I want to share with you before some training, because everyone just loves some numbers. They want to just throw some numbers out there. But we've had these researched. And these numbers are 74% of top performing sales teams hold a structured one-on-one weekly. Sales reps with consistent coaching close 32% of more deals than those without. Retention rates increase by 40% when reps feel heard and supported. So you will keep 40% more people when your sales reps feel valued, listened, and supported. And high-performing sales reps need coaching. The best leaders fine-tune even their top closers. I'll give you an example about this. I had a sales team recently, and we had 4 sales reps on this team. One guy's closing at 10%, one guy 15%, and 2 people closing at 30%. Logically, most sales managers, most CEOs will go and pour their energy into their bottom performers, the 10 and 15% guys, because they'll say, oh, we've got to get them up to 30%, we've got to get them to 25%, or whatever the close rate is that we need to get them up to on the KPI, depending on your industry. And let's say it's more of a consulting, coaching, online offer, and we're trying to get them to 30%. Imagine if we just pour into the high-performing reps, and they're at 30% already. Imagine if we get those to 35 or 40%. Imagine if we get those guys truly skilled. And where is your energy best served? Which one is going to lead to more revenue? You've got to think about things in a logical way, not in an emotional way. So I'm going to show you the 5-step process to a killer one-on-one that's going to drive performance and drive accountability and make your sales reps feel like you genuinely value them and they're going to want to work for you. So first, it's about setting the right tone. So your role as a sales leader is you're a professional coach. You're helping them break through their limitations. So they naturally have limitations in their mind. Remember, they will say to you, I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't think I can achieve this. Your job as their coach is to not say, why can't you? Or why can't you do this for me? Or how soon can you do that? That's just the basic level. That is one way to drive performance, through assertiveness. But your job is to get them to break through their limitations, which involves questioning and coaching. You're like a therapist at times. And a therapist asks deep questions and is able to get through to them and understand them. Remember, each of your sales team will have different archetypes, different personalities. You need to be able to map them out and understand them fully. And if you understand them, they're going to feel valued, because by you understanding them, they need to open up. They'll only open up to someone who cares. And if they know that you care, they'll perform. And you're the accountability partner, so you're ensuring they stay on track. And the golden rule, so not to forget, you listen more than you talk. So your one-on-one is no different to a sales call. Your one-on-one is just like a sales call where you are listening more than you are talking. So you're asking open-ended questions to just let them self-assess. And you're using active listening. So what is active listening? That's where they're talking, you're nodding, saying yes, your body's moving. You're not just sat there. You're actively listening. Most people don't know how to actively listen. Actively listening is a skill. One of the best rules is to avoid jumping straight into numbers. So what most people do is they go into the one-on-one and they just start reviewing numbers. Instead, just say, how are you? And when they answer, how are you? Just say, so how are you actually doing? Just don't go into numbers too quick. Step 2 is all about reviewing performance, and it's about going beyond the numbers. So you are going to discuss numbers, but the numbers tell a story. And I'm going to talk you through how they actually tell a story and how you actually dissect that story from the numbers. So the key performance metrics that you have, obviously, you can have volume, appointments, the amount of calls that closed or shown up. This shows their metrics. But remember, this shows their behavior. The numbers are made up by a bunch of behaviors. Show rate is made up of a behavior, not just your email sequence as a marketer, but it's made up of a behavior of a sales rep on how they text, call, confirm the call in the morning, in the evening. If they got a call with a prospect at 9 a.m., they're going to confirm it the night before. Hey, we've got a call at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Just checking if you have any questions before our call. Nope. Great. See you on there. Just check you got the invite in your email. Yes, that behavior needs to be on there. It's not just the show rate. The show rate relates to a behavior. So you're managing numbers through behavior management. And what performance data won't show you? It won't show you their confidence level, it won't show you their mindset, and it won't show you their external blocks. The numbers will just say a bunch of digits that shows you their close rate, their show rate, their deal volume, their rated deals, their average order size, but it won't show you how they actually feel. Someone could be a top performer, but could be pulling their hair out, and then weeks later they could be wanting to leave because of the pressure of the job. You need to be able to recognize that, so otherwise they're not going to be able to last, and that's why you're their therapist. That's why you're their guy or their girl who's going to support them through it. Step 3, find the root cause. So if there is something that's going on, how are you going to find the root cause to that problem? You're going to use layering questions, techniques to dig deeper. Step 1, surface level problems are, why do you think your closing rate dropped? Just an open question. You would not say, your closing rate is not good right now, what's going on? You would say, why do you think your closing rate has dropped? Because it's clear it's dropped, just ask them why. Or, your closing rate's not very good. You'd be shocked the amount of people that would say this. Maybe you are saying this. Your closing rate has dropped. Say, hey, just notice your closing rate's dropped. What's going on? Step 2, emotional layer. How do you feel when you get an objection? So if they say, oh, so objections I've been getting, all this stuff has been happening on the call, how do you feel when it's happening? Ask them now the emotional level. So I've gone a level deeper. So I found the issue, I went a level deeper on the emotional level. Then I'm going to go into the personal layer, which is what's been on your mind about that? What do you think about that? So I'm going a layer deeper about that issue each time. And this is how you coach people. This is your step-by-step framework on how you get deeper with your sales reps. But remember, your tonality is important. You're talking to them as though you genuinely care. If you don't care, they'll know. So it'll quickly come out that you don't care. Because if you don't give a fuck about them, they're not going to care about you. Simple. If a rep is struggling, look at 3 patterns. Confidence issues. Do they sound hesitant on calls? Burnout. Are they mentally disengaged or exhausted? I always watch out for burnout. Like sometimes I'll push team members slowly, I'll ramp them up over time. And then what I'll do is I'll recognize, are they close to getting burnt out here? Then I'll pull them back. So you've got to recognize how much you can push people, but you only recognize that from pushing them. Like I've got a sales rep at the moment. He's been working hard for months, been grafting. And if there's a time where I think, you know what, let's pull him away a bit. I'll just say to him, nah, you should go on a holiday sometime. You should maybe take a weekend off. You should maybe like have a few days off work. I'll just suggest that to him because I can see the patterns through experience, through intuition. What is intuition? Intuition is me recognize past behaviors. I grew up around a bunch of criminals. So I have great intuition when I think someone's a wrong one. When I think someone's dodgy and someone doesn't have bad behaviors, I have intuition. I also have good intuition when I see burnout because I've been through it. I've led sales teams and that intuition takes time to build. Intuition is something great leaders need and that comes from experience. You've all had that manager that just came into the role, no experience, just got the job, and then they have no intuition on how to manage you. Intuition is the thing most people find hard to articulate, but I understand it because you can define it. Define it, understand it, and know how to use it. Lack of motivation. You can ask, do you seem to just be going through the motions at the moment, or do you have a clear goal? Asking an open question like that, like, is it this or is it that? They'll answer, no, I just feel like I'm just going through the motions and I'm a bit tired. Or they'll say, no, I've got a clear goal, I know what I'm doing. You see, very quickly you can recognize where they're at. Where's their headspace at? Well, how do I need to guide them? And you'll realize a one-on-one is a lot more than you think. It was not just a chat. You're truly asking them questions to drive performance. Motivate and rebuild their confidence. So when you recognize they need a bit of a kick, they need a bit of a boost, you're there to give it to them. And how would you do that? You can do personalized goals and rewards, connect them to their targets and their why. An example, how am I doing this? I spoke to my setter recently and he said, oh, I need a bit more money for this area. I'm trying to go on holiday, trying to save money, trying to increase my lifestyle. So I said, sure, how much do you want to make? And he was like, oh, I need to make an extra £1,000. And I went, okay, if you do this, I will give you an extra £1,000. I found the benefit for the business because I know what the business needs. I found the benefit for the salesperson and I linked those two together. Everyone wins. Someone should not be winning if they're not winning. You can even relate it to like a creative role. If you had a team that manages a YouTube, my YouTube team, when there's AdSense, will get the ad revenue. So up to a certain amount of revenue, they would get it. Why would they get it? Well, it will drive performance. Think about if there's an editor and he finishes work at 5, but he knows that, oh, if that video performs better, maybe I'll work till 5:15 today, maybe 5:30. Maybe I'll just do a little bit extra because it's going to benefit me. So you have to truly think about it benefiting others. You can't just take, it has to benefit everyone. If it benefits everyone, everyone should win in any deal. If you're the only one winning in a deal, eventually those deals come to an end. And number 2 is to shift their mindset on rejection. Make rejection a positive challenge. Every no means you are closer to a yes. Track how many you need to close a deal. So if someone's getting a lot of no's, that's okay, but you just need to coach them on it. Why is it happening? And teach them that no is actually moving them forward, as long as they're learning the lessons on why they got a no. I actually got a no on a sales call this week. Earlier in the week, someone actually said, oh, I'm not interested, but I learned a massive lesson. I listened back to my call, even me, after 15 years. I listened back to the call and I realized I was rushing. I wasn't asking enough questions. I interrupted the person twice when I listened to the call. They were talking and I went, oh, and I didn't allow silence to sit, and it hurt the call. So I wasn't able to close that call. Whose fault is it? Mine. Whose lesson is it to learn? Mine. Who benefits? Me. It's a positive. And number 3 is public praise for small wins. So build their confidence by giving them small victories. So if there's praise, I'm going to give it in public. If there's criticism, I'm going to do it in private. That's a great rule. That's a rule that I always follow. Step number 5, end with a clear action plan and accountability. So you've done all this work throughout the one-on-one where you found the issue, found out what they're struggling with, found out why they're struggling, find out how you can motivate them, drive performance, but then it ends now with accountability, where they know there's going to be some agreements made by the end of this meeting. Step 1 is to identify one key focus area. If you go to the gym and you have a trainer and you do a squat and your knee caves in and the trainer says, next time, keep your knee up, put your elbows down, push your knees out and don't go onto your toes. You'll be like, I'm not sure which one to do. If the trainer says, just keep your knee out on this next rep, then you'll do that. The next set, he'll say, just keep your chest up on this set, then you'll do that. Improvement doesn't come so quick. You want it to come quick, but at times it will take longer than you think. And then step 3 is accountability check for next week. What will you hit every single day next week? What needs to happen every single day next week? So they will tell you, I will do this. Get commitments made for the next week. If they commit to the number off their back, they are way more likely to hit it rather than you just giving them a number. If you say, I want 30% close rate, compared to what close rate do you think you can get? I think I can get 25%. Could you do 30? Is it possible? Yeah, I think I could. Okay, great, let's do it. Let's go for 30. Very different to get 30% close rate. If they say they're going to do it, it's way more powerful because it's their idea. They made the commitment rather than to be told. When you're told to do something, you're less likely to do it. When it's your idea, you're way more likely to do it. I naturally am rebellious. If someone's telling me to do it, I'm like, now I don't want to do it. So I want to do tasks when they're my idea. Final takeaways for this spectacular training that you've just had is listen first, always start with their perspective, so understanding is the key. Review their performance, go beyond the numbers, as we said. It's not just a bunch of numbers, your people aren't numbers. Treat them as people, ask deeper questions, find out the reason behind the struggle, motivate strategically, use psychology, not pressure. You can pressure someone to do something, they'll do it quick, but they'll eventually burn out and hate you. So you want to use psychology to do it. End with a clear action plan and accountability. And then what's next is implement these 5 steps into your one-to-one, run your one-to-ones properly, and track their progress, and then build personalized development plans. And we'll talk about development plans in another video on how to build them out, but this is how you run one-to-ones. This entire training that I've got on here, I'm happy to share this with you. If you join our community, which you'll see in the link description below, you can access all this for free. There's nothing to charge you on here. There's nothing to sell. There's even some free sales training you'll get on here. You'll get some assets on how to run sales meetings, on how to actually do one-to-ones. It's a bunch of free resources that you can take and you can start growing and building a team and getting it to improve for free. And if you have a sales rep, or if you've got a couple of sales reps and you tweak their performance by a couple of percent, that could mean tens of thousands every single month or hundreds of thousands more. And over the year, it could mean 6 and 7 figures just by you changing 1 or 2 things. And this content is absolutely free to you. Comment, tell us on how you're doing your one-to-ones, if any. If you're not doing your one-to-ones with your team, tell us you're not doing one-on-ones. Whether you even got one setter, a DM setter, or you've got a team of 20 sales reps. Tell us what you're doing at the moment, and I'll catch you on the next video.